Hi, I'm a 33-year-old African American woman currently living in DC, and I recently completed Larry's social anxiety therapy group. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about my experience in the group over the course of the 5 months because I thought it was very useful and allowed me to make substantial progress combating my social anxiety. So I think I realized I had social anxiety about a year and a half ago. I had been doing some individual therapy before I moved to DC, and I felt that through that therapy I had been growing and learning more about myself, but there were still some things that felt a bit out of sorts or a bit odd to me. I've always had difficulty connecting with people, and then I noted that in conversations, oftentimes I would listen. I would kind of take a backstage to people who were more prone to give their opinions during conversations. I would never really state my opinion or even try to rebut someone else's opinion if I didn't agree with them. It was just very difficult for me to speak up within a group of people. One on one with another person was fine, but once I got around a larger group of people, there was just this nervousness or this fear in me that prevented me from speaking my mind. Um, I had also fought back and realized that when I was in school, I never really spoke up in class. I've been very academically successful. I've completed a PhD as well as a master's, and in looking back, I remember some classes I took, I would actually get marked down because of losing participation points because I was just too afraid to voice my opinion in class. And so I say all this because I think it's important, and those are some small symptoms that I exhibited, but I had never put two and two together until I was doing a bit of Google research. I wanted to find another therapist within the area. I had actually gone to a therapist briefly, and that didn't work out. And so I was just kind of Googling some symptoms that I had, and I came across Larry's website. And reading through the list of symptoms of someone that has social anxiety, something just kind of clicked in my brain. And I was like, okay, I think that's what I have. Again, sometimes it's really difficult to speak up, and I don't want to give my opinion or hurt someone else's feelings. And I felt that that was really holding me back, especially given the new job that I have, which I moved to DC for. So, in that particular job, I need to communicate and speak on the phone and speak up in meetings often. And I found that it was going to be detrimental for me if I did not get the anxiety under control. So when I saw that Larry was having a kind of open house session for people to learn about his program, I was super excited. I had to wait, I think, about a month and a half for the next open house, but like during that time I was reading up on social anxiety and learning more about the symptoms and way to combat it, and I just got really excited because I felt that this was something that would truly be able to help me. So I went to the open house, and again, I was just like, yes, this is exactly what I need to do. I'm really excited about it. And then so I joined the group, and the group, I think we were 10 altogether, and the first day we went, it was funny because I kind of felt like I was home. You know, these were a group of people that understood me, who were struggling with some of the same things that I was struggling with. And then we all decided that we would be able to take a next step towards improving our lives by joining the group. Some of the most helpful exercises in the group for me, I think, were those around cognitive restructuring and trying to get to the root of why I feel a certain way. I don't want to speak up because I feel that people are going to judge me, and I need to present this facade of perfection, which I realize we don't need to do. You know, humans are imperfect people, and by showing your imperfections and your flaws, you're able to connect with people that much more. And that's what I was missing. I wasn't able to connect with people because I was so afraid of what their perceptions of me were. Um, some of the other exercises I think were great. Larry has something where I think it's called the individual group experiment, where you have to kind of stand in front of the group and do something that really makes you very nervous and very anxious. But again, you're surrounded by people who are in it with you and want to see you improve and to grow, and to become a better version of yourself. But I think those experiments were really helpful because you were able to do them in a comfortable setting, and that gave you practice for being able to do something that you consider scary or anxiety provoking in the real world. Um, Additionally, I think Larry was just a very supportive therapist and was always there to listen to you if you had questions or concerns. And I do think the group experience overall was very beneficial. I was able to make friends in the group, which I thought was really great. And one thing I do want to mention is that I found really funny. A lot of people in the group would tell me, "Oh, you don't look like, or you don't seem like you have social anxiety." And I think being in the places I've been in my life, I've had to kind of overcome it in a sense, and put on a front like I'm not socially anxious. Like I have to interact with people as a graduate student. I have to get up and give presentations, and that was just a part of what you had to do in order to graduate. And so I was able to cope with it. But even though I was coping with it, on the inside it was eating me up and I was incredibly anxious. So I say this to say that even though a person presents a certain way on the outside, that doesn't tell you how they feel or how they're dealing with whatever they're dealing with on the inside. Social anxiety is no one's fault. It's something that we're born with. It's mental. There's nothing really that you can do to control it, until you're able to use some of the tools that you learn, if you do a group like Larry's group. Um, Also, I think for me, some of the most anxiety provoking things were, again, being judged. And I think that stems from the fact that I was an African American student, in a predominantly white high school at the age of 14, and I wanted to present this perception of myself that I had things all together, and I didn't want to be necessarily another stereotype of what an African American woman looks like, because for me, I was kind of representing my entire race, at such a young age, at 14, and I don't think that's something that I really or fully realized until I was in the group with Larry and doing work on core beliefs and trying to figure out why I believe certain things about myself. So the group has been over for about 2 months now, and I can honestly say that I do sense a real change in me. One of the things that I struggled with before was being fully present, showing myself so that other people could really see me for who I was and not presenting this facade or this person who seems like they're perfect. And so now I feel that I'm able to connect to people more readily. I go out of my way. I try to have conversations with people. At church, I stay longer and mingle. That was really a trigger for me because for some reason I just always felt very awkward and anxious when I was at church. But I've been able to make friends. I've joined the Ladies Fellowship, and have started to actually hang out with individual women in the church, which has just been really fantastic for me because I'm building a community. I've also noticed a change at work. It used to be really, really difficult for me to kind of speak up on the spot, and not have something prepared because I was used again to presenting this facade of being perfect, and I felt that when you just kind of speak off the cuff, things may not come out as clearly or as polished as I would like. And so at work now, I try not to take notes or write down what I want to say before I have a meeting, and I kind of just go off the cuff. I know that information is in my head, and I've stopped thinking or trying to figure out what I'm going to say next because I'm being mindful, I'm focusing in that moment, and in that moment, things flow out perfectly fine. And if I make a mistake, then I learn that it's okay to make a mistake. People are human. Errors are common, and no one's gonna say, oh, she's not as qualified as I thought she was because she misspoke or something silly like that. So I think I've exhibited a lot of growth over the past couple of months, and I can't say that every day has been easy. I mean, during the group, it's a condensed amount of time, so it's 5 months, and you're constantly challenging yourself, and you have accountability because you have Larry there, and you know you're going to see him each week, and you know you're going to see your group members each week. So you want to do your homework. It's called homework. We have to do experiments. But once you finish the group, you have to be motivated. I have to be motivated on my own to continue to seek out challenges that are going to help me grow. And I have all the tools that Larry taught us in the group. I use them almost daily. I'm constantly telling myself, you know, you don't have to be perfect. You are great as you are. And continue to challenge myself because I know I can get to the place where I want to be. Um, and with that, I think I'll end. I mean, I will say just again and reiterate how helpful I think the group has been for me. Again, I'm not probably at the place where I want to be, but I've definitely made a lot of progress in a short amount of time. And I'm really excited to see where I get to be. I'm excited about being able to connect with people more, to develop stronger friendships and deeper friendships, and to meet new people, and to be able to date with confidence because that was something that was also really scary for me, being able to present myself to someone of the opposite sex and have them accept me. So, with that, I will just say I think being in Larry's group has really been a very helpful thing for me.